Welcome back to the channel, and you saw me do this one using AutoCAD 2D and 3D. Now what I'm going to use in this one is going to be Inventor. And before I get started, I'm going to take a little time to break this down just to give you some kind of behind the scenes of how my brain is thinking and maybe how yours is thinking, right? And I'm going to also let you know that I'm going to try to attempt to do this in two different ways for this video just to see if somebody's brain is kind of thinking a different way than mine is, okay? So we're going to go ahead and talk about this for a little bit, and then we're going to break it down, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Inventor and show you how to do this. Okay, so what my brain is thinking is that I can see this and I can kind of create this with like 4 different shapes and I can get this all done. Now, if you were out actually manufacturing this, you probably won't build it this way. At least far as I know, you wouldn't, because, you know, you would have weld marks and things of that nature all over your drawing. But you can, put it on a lathe or some of that nature, and then you would take a big piece of metal here, or wood, or whatever, plastic, or whatever this could be, and then you would shave it down. But the first approach I'm going to take to this is going to be creating this using the traditional modeling method I think of, basically me starting off with something and just building it up. The second approach that I'm going to do to this is going to be me actually starting with that big block, just in case if you have a manufacturing background and your mind may think that way, then you can approach it that way. All right. But the first way I'm going to do this, and you can kind of follow along here, is that all I'm going to do is I'm going to create this rectangle here, which is going along here at the bottom. And let's see, we're going to go across this way. And then I'm going to come up. And I hope you're kind of seeing exactly what I'm seeing here. It's going to go this way and this way. And I do apologize for my kind of crude drawing here. And going across this direction, right? So you can see that there is some kind of base or box is what, most 3D programs will call it. But we're going to build that, and then we're just going to extrude up from that. And you can see the dimensions there are simply our 70 here at the bottom. Then we have a 40. And then we're going to go up a distance of 10, right? Now I do have this triangular piece, and I'm going to go ahead and change the color here. And we have this piece here. And we can just do the simple math to figure this one out. And you can see that if I do the simple math here, that distance that goes across here should be sitting at 30, and that's 30. And then the distance going up, remember we have to subtract these two numbers from each other. So that distance has a height of 5, right? So we have that shape. And then finally what we do, or what we have left, and let's go ahead and change our color one more time here, is that we'll have this back shape here. So it's just going to go up and across and come all the way down here, come back around and come here. And then this is just going to extrude downward, right? Now with this one, remember that the height of this one will be a little bit different, right? It's going to be our 40 minus our 10, not our 15. Remember that 15 just gave us that height of here. But here it's going all the way down from that base. So that should give me a distance of 30. And then finally we're going to have to deal with here at the end is just the slot part, right? So that's kind of the way my brain is thinking when I see this. But if you're coming from that other option, what you're going to do is you're going to start off with the big block, and then you're going to start basically taking stuff away from that. So once we get to that one, and you're going to see that that one is going to take a little bit more work. But if your brain thinks that way, that is totally fine. All right. So next, let's go ahead and jump over to Inventor. And I'm going to do it my preferred method first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically do it exactly again, just for those people who kind of come from a manufacturing background and who wants to do it kind of in a subtraction type method. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump over to Inventor and get started. Okay, so here in Inventor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select metric units. So here I'm using a metric, and then I'm going to use a standard millimeter IPT. That's sheet metal there. This is the one I need. And let's go ahead and create. All right, so while this is loading up, I want to thank you for coming back and watching these videos, as I really do appreciate you coming back and hopefully learning something. please feel free to leave me a comment, or if there's something that I'm doing wrong, or maybe I'm taking a long way around this, please do let me know in the comments. All right. So, but I really do, and I want to take the time to say I do appreciate you coming back, watching the videos, you know, liking them and interacting with me, as I really do appreciate it. Okay, so Inventor should load up here in a couple of more seconds here, and you know, I haven't opened it for a long time, so I will apologize here on my computer that if it's taking a little longer than usual. That's the reason why, but it also gives me a time to talk to you. All right, so you can see that the ribbon is already changed over. We're getting our browser here to load up, and here in a second I think it might be ready to go with our sketch. All right, so I have my background here set to black. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and select this top icon here to start my sketch, and then depending on how you want this to be orientated, do keep in mind your view cube and which way is the front, right, and the top view. Remember that by default here, it's looking at an isometric view. So I'm going to create it the exact same way as my picture here. I'm going to start off here on the bottom. So I'm going to select here. And once again, I'm going to keep in mind how my cube here rotates. And what I'm going to do is just select this flip handle here just to rotate it. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and place a 2-point center rectangle here. What I'm going to have to define first is going to be the center. So once I click that, and then I'll click here. All right, let's go ahead and put some quick dimensions on here. So let's go to dimension. We're going to do this distance here, which is going to be our 40. Remember that the first dimension that we place on is going to be our scale dimension. Let me go ahead and slide that in a little bit closer here. I have to escape out of that command and slide it in just a little closer. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the dimension here, which is set to 70. Okay, nice, quick, and easy. Let's go ahead and hit the Finish Sketch button. It comes back to me in an isometric view. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this up. And this is where those numbers do come important that I was telling you there in the intro, is that I want to make sure I send this in the up direction, a height of 10 millimeters. Okay, so that should be fine there. Let's go ahead and select here. All right, I'm going to put a sketch right on this top plate here. So I'm going to select here. Then I'll select the icon with the little green plus. That should rotate around. Once again, I'm just going to make sure I rotate this that direction. Next, I'm going to go ahead and kind of draw this triangle shape. So I'll just use a regular line here. I'm going to start off somewhere on this line here. I'll go a left click here, come to here, to that endpoint, come up. Try to stay away from the midpoints on that line there, okay? All right, so now I have my shape that is created. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on here. Remember that we did calculate those dimensions there in the beginning. And you can see that it's not quite giving me that line that I need, but I'm just gonna go ahead and select it here in the selection options. Now, if you are having kind of trouble picking which one it is, here's another option for you. So if I'm going to put a dimension on here and it's somewhere buried underneath this line, you can always do a right click and then you can choose the select other, and that's going to bring up this menu here, and then from here you can select. So you can see what's highlighted on my screen, and when I highlight this one, it's going to give me that. I'll go ahead and place that dimension and tell it that it's 30. Let's do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to place that dimension on here and make sure that it is 30. You can see here at the bottom, it's fully constrained. I'll go ahead and finish the sketch. Let's look at it from the side view here. Let's go ahead and extrude this one. And then we're going to give it a height. Remember that we looked at it in the beginning. This one has a height of 5, right? Because the total distance from this bottom going up should be 15. All right, let's go ahead and select here. Let's go ahead and create a sketch there. Once again, I'm just going to do a little rotation here. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to start off somewhere here. I'll go down to that endpoint, to this endpoint. And now that I think about it, I should have put it all the way at that endpoint, but that's okay. I'm going to click somewhere on this line here. Then I'm going to go back to my original endpoint. Okay, so now I can use some of my constraints here. So I'll just use this coincidence, go find that endpoint and place it on that endpoint. All right. Let's do another coincidence of this endpoint placed on that endpoint. Let's put a dimension, which is located here. That should give me a distance of 30. And then I can see that I do have one little green line up there, but it's telling me that it's fully constrained, so I think everything should be okay. Let's go ahead and finish the sketch here. Then we're going to use the extrude command. We're going to send it up a height of 30. Hit OK on this one. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the back side of this. So I'm just going to select here on the view cube. I'll go ahead and select here. Let's go ahead and put a sketch on that face. I'm going to draw a quick rectangle on here. So I'm just going to use a 2-point. Let's give it some basic dimensions. I know that the dimension going across here. I accidentally selected the wrong line there. Going across here should be 15. And then we have a height of this one, which should be set to 20. Alright, next I need to just kind of place this where it needs to be. Let's see if I can get away with a coincidence. Go find that midpoint, and I can find the midpoint there, and it should take care of both of those. Let's go to Finish Sketch. And now we're going to send this all the way through, so we're going to go to the Extrude command. It should automatically pick that profile for us. Let's tell it to subtract and go through all. Hit the OK button. Then we're just going to kind of flip this around to the isometric view of it. And now you can see that that was kind of a nice, easy, quick way of doing this, right? So nice and smooth. I'm just kind of building off of what I have, and that's going to be your traditional way that you're going to create isometrics, or well, I shouldn't say isometrics, models, anytime you're using a three-dimensional or even a parametric program. Now, in AutoCAD, I do have the ability to kind of make those shapes outside, put them on top of each other, but I can do this exact same process using AutoCAD. Okay, now let's go ahead and try to take a look at this doing it the other way. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just going to select the new icon here at the top. Go ahead and select this standard millimeter IPT again, hit the create button. And then on this one, I'm going to just go ahead and start off by creating this one, the whole entire big block first. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click on the sketch button. This time I'll go ahead and select this XY plane. All right, we're going to still go ahead and use our 2-point center rectangle. We're going to click here in the center. Then I'll go ahead and make it that distance there. Put a couple of dimensions on here. So this dimension here is going to be 70. And then this dimension here, which is the height, is going to be 40. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. We're going to extrude this. I want you to send it both directions. And in this case, we're going to give it a distance of 40 going across. All right. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, or the next thing I'm going to do, is go ahead and put that slot in here. So I'm just going to select this backside. Now you can kind of notice that I am on the left profile, and that's what I want to go ahead and place this sketch on. I'll do the exact same thing I did before, right? So I'm just going to use a rectangle, a 2-point one. Go ahead and place it here. Let's go ahead and put the dimensions on it. We do have a 15 dimension here. And then we do have a height here, which is set to 20. And we did a coincidence just by grabbing that midpoint and placing it at that midpoint. We're going to finish this sketch. And then we're going to extrude this and send it through the whole thing, right? So we're going to just tell it subtract, go through all, and it's cut through. All right, so that's our first portion of this. All right, next what I want to do is I want to drop down and see if I can, figure out, how can I get this next part in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create a sketch right here on this top plate. Let's go ahead and rotate this around so we're looking at it in a good orientation. All right, so now I know that I need to bring a certain part of this down a certain distance, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by creating a line here. And I'm just going to bring that line at an angle. Try to stay away from the midpoint of this bottom line here. I'll go over this direction. And then I'm going to bring up somewhere in here. Now, I don't think I got that line to go from there to there. Let's go ahead and make it a little weird looking, but that's okay. And then I'll do the exact same thing here, since I don't think I actually made it there. And I'm just going to intentionally make this, you know, a little bit bad. Perfect. Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to make these lines collinear, right? So I can select that line and select that line and do the same up here. Make it collinear to that one. I'm going to place a few dimensions on here. So I know I have that line that's going through there. Remember that I can use the select other option if it's not giving me my line that I want. And then we have a distance going through here, which is set to 10. We also have the exact same thing here happening. If you want to use constraints, you do have an equal constraint that you can select. And once again, I got to do the select other option here. So I want that sketch. Oh, looks like I missed it. Let's go here, right click, select other. It's got that line there. And then I want to find that one there. So if I set those two equal to each other, yes, they are equal to 10, right? You know, the benefit of that is if you want to test this and I make this number 15 now, that one should grow as well, which it does. Okay, so I'll go ahead and set this back equal to 10. All right, next I need a couple of more dimensions, right? So we'll do a dimension from that endpoint to this endpoint here. And that number will be set to 30. And I can do the exact same thing here, but it's actually fully constrained since it's already satisfied everything that I'm going to need here. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. And now we have to calculate how far to go down here. And remember that we are taking this all the way down. So this extrusion should be a distance of 30, right? So I'm going to tell it to subtract, go down 30. And let's take a look at this in real time as it is shaving going off of here, right? So you see now that this goes across and it's going down 30. Now this is going to look a little weird to you, but it is that shape. Let's go ahead and kind of rotate this around just so you can take a look at how weird this looks right now. All right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put a sketch onto that little piece there. And now we're going to go ahead and create that shape that we did. And I'm just going to kind of put it over here just to show you kind of some of the benefits of using a program like Inventor as well as in SolidWorks. We do have that option to put it, you know, kind of anywhere we need it to be. All right, collinear. This line goes to here. And then we're going to collinear that line to here. And once again, I don't worry about it if it goes a little crazy. I just usually hit the escape button, do a left click and drag it up this direction. Let's go ahead and place a dimension on here. So we're going to go to our dimension, place it here. Remember that that number was 30. And likewise here on the bottom here, this number is 30. All right, so we have everything that we need to create this shape. Now we need to calculate how far it goes down. So we have to do a little bit of math here. It's going to be 40 minus 15, which if I'm not mistaken, that should be 25. So if I finish this sketch, and let's get back to looking at this in an isometric view. Let's take a look at the front view, flip it this direction, and then take a look at it. All right. Let's go ahead and extrude this. We're going to send this one going down. Going to give it a distance of 25. And now I can hit OK. All right. So I think that's everything that we need to create this shape. So you see that we can build it a little bit differently. And if we compare the two, you can see that it took me 4 steps to do that way. And then on the other way, it took me 4 steps, right? But it's just a matter of how your brain thinks about it. If you're thinking about it here in the kind of manufacturing aspect of it, what that lathe would do is go through and it would shave off through this part, and then you could shave that part down, or vice versa, however you get these steps done, right? But it will still come out with the exact same solution, and you're seeing that no matter which option that you use, okay? So hopefully you enjoyed looking at these different options of at least how my brain works. My brain was tend to gonna gravitate to the first option that I did show you, whereas some people, which is absolutely nothing wrong with it, is gonna take a look at the second approach to this and gonna do it that way. But as I keep saying to you, there's no wrong way of doing this. There's just, a way of doing it. As long as the model is correct and it will come out dimensionally correct on your drawing, that's what you have. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for coming back into another one, and keep watching these videos as it's giving me more and more, energy, I guess, to keep doing more. And as always, keep drafting, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.